Hello and welcome to part 2 of our Tamiya TT-01 race build from RC Empire. Now in the last episode we went through a quick unpacking of just some of the goodies we'll be using in this build, and a quick overview of the race we'll be using this car for. Also mentioning that we're going to try and keep this a low cost build compared to our TT-02 Type S. And in the last video we also changed the 3D printed wheel hubs to aluminium ones, as this is one of the modifications you're allowed to do for this race series. So the first thing we're going to do with the TT-01 is change the steering servo, which is in need of a big upgrade. Now for this car we have chosen to go with the Savox SC-1257TG servo, the exact same one we used in our TT-02 build. Because, as already mentioned, I've never had a single issue with the Savox servo. It is super quick, worked great on the TT-02, and I've found them to be very reliable. Now I'm quickly going to fly through this because we've already done one unboxing of this servo with the TT-02 with all the specifications. But in the box you have a few stickers, a little pack of servo horns with the standard fittings and hardware, and of course you get this amazing bright orange Savox servo, which is coreless, digital, titanium geared, has 12 kilograms of torque and rated at 0.08 seconds per 60 degrees at 6 volts. And you can also see it modelled here by our TT-02. A few quick measurements, because this is important with the TT-01, as you will see in a second. It's around 55mm long, 40mm high, $20mm wide, and you also get this nice long cable which is around 290mm long. So to fit this in the TT-01, we are firstly going to move some bits and pieces out the way, and luckily everything is mounted securely with Velcro, so this isn't too hard. If we remove the speed controller and the receiver, you can see we've got this little platform securely held in place with a couple of screws from the bottom of the chassis. And to release it, you'll need to unscrew these two screws, and it would just lift out like that. If we remove the servo horn, you can now see that this platform is actually what secures a servo into place on this TT-01. So it's important that your servo fits in here, unless you start modifying everything, which for this race series isn't allowed, and our new servo will just fit in like that. As you can see, however, there is a clash between the servo cable coming out the bottom and the platform casing, and we can't squeeze the wires in. So what I'm going to do quickly is make a little mark on the plastic where the cables will go. And just snip a little section away. And with a file, just get it nice and snug and get rid of any sharp edges which might rub against the cage. And with that done, the servo will slide in nicely and we can fit it back into the car. Now one thing I'm going to do before we fit everything back in is tidy up this cabling with a little zip tie. And also, before we connect the servo horn to the servo, we want to make sure everything is aligned. So connect the servo to the receiver, power it up and make sure it's centered. Also making sure that your trims are centered too. And with that done, make sure your wheels are dead straight and connect the servo horn in its neutral position to the servo, so that center on the servo is center at the wheels. And then we can go ahead and tighten up the servo horn and fit the platform back on. And put everything back together for a little static test. Now we will be neatening up the cables because we want to take this car out for a little test run with the new servo before we change anything else like the motors, ESC or gearing. And that test will be the next video in this series. But for now, if we connect our battery, you can see we have movement. And again, the servo is so precise, picking up every single little movement and vibration in the transmitter. Now quickly, it looks to me like the wheels are turning more in one direction than the other. So more to the right than the left. But this might just be an illusion and we'll have to take it out to the track to give it a good test and see what it does. But that's it, we have now installed probably the most expensive component that we're going to be using with this build, and we are ready for a little test run. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and we'll be back very soon with a couple of test runs. Thank you for watching and see you soon.